Greetings, everybody. When we last left our hero, he was talking about demand and the elasticity of demand. Mentioned that if something is price elastic, a lot more people will buy it if the price goes down. So if you are selling products with an elastic demand to gain more total revenue, you want to lower the price. If you are selling a product that has an inelastic demand to get more total revenue, you want to raise the price. And if you are selling a product which has a unit elasticity of demand, which I really don't think exists, I think it's more of a theoretic concept. But say if you were selling a product that had a unit elastic demand, you can do anything you want with the price and it won't change total revenue because the change in price will be offset by the change in quantity. Well, let's talk in this particular recording about supply, how supply is derived, and we'll see if we can get into equilibrium and the benefits of that. So let's begin on that. Remember, get the chair out of the way. Remember, ceteris paribus is hard at work. So we are looking at two variables here. So we have price here, and we have quantity there. And we know how demand curve is derived. It is a schedule of price and quantity combinations that people will buy. Well, when we, as consumers, we have one advantage that we know the price of something. It's on the sticker. It's usually labeled, so we don't have to guess at the price of something. But if you're putting things on the market, you're kind of guessing at what price you should charge to sell all of it. Okay? And the higher a price you think you're going to get for the item, the more you will put on the market. So if you're a producer, say, and you only think you'll get, say, a low price for something, you probably won't put much of it on the market. Maybe you'll put that quantity there. Okay. P1. Well, if you think you'll get a higher price, say this price, maybe you'll put this much on the market, which would be what? Right about there, okay? You do this on down the line at higher prices. You play connect the dots, as economists always do, and behold, you have what is called a supply schedule or a supply curve, okay? Supply curve. This is the supply curve, again, is only talking about price and quantity. There's other things that could go into the equation, but if we're just talking about price and quantity, if the price of something goes up and the suppliers put more on the market, that doesn't mean that the supply of something has changed, because supply, like demand, is the entire schedule of it, okay? We just say that the quantity of the items supplied has changed, okay? So, what is it then? What is a case when supply does change? Okay? Usually the thing that makes supply change is the availability and cost of all the stuff that goes in to make the product. Okay? One prime example of, maybe I'll make the supply curve shorter because the screen is cutting it off a bit. How about that? Can you see that better? Not really, but that's as far as I'll go. But anyway, one example of the supply curve moving around would happen when oil prices change. Okay, oil changes. Because oil is the basis of so many products we buy or that we that are out there. When you think of it, many of our clothes are made out of are petroleum based. Gasoline obviously is directly petroleum based. Plastic bags in the garbage can are petroleum based. So what if the price of crude oil jumps up? What will that happen? Well, in that case, you might have a situation where for a company to put this much on the market, say, they have to charge a higher price. Maybe they have to charge this much. Okay? And on up. Maybe for each quantity they put on the market, they have to charge a higher price. Connect the dots. And behold, the supply curve has shifted to the left. In this case, if it shifts to the left, we that say that supply has decreased. Now, if the price of gasoline goes down, or say the price of petroleum goes down, suppliers will find they don't even have to charge that much to put a quantity on the market. Maybe at that point, let's say they found that lint performs the same thing that oil does, and lint's a lot cheaper. Well, what would that do to the supply curve of everything that is petroleum based? Well, they could put a lot more on the market for a lot cheaper, and so that supply curve would tend to shift to the right. When the supply curve shifts to the right, we say that the supply has increased. Generally, that's the major thing that shifts supply, is the availability of resources. Could be an increase in technology in which something is invented to allow the supplier to make things more cheaply. Then supply will shift out. If supply shifts out and demand doesn't increase, well, then the equilibrium price tends to go down. If supply decreases and nothing happens to the demand, it will tend to make the equilibrium price increase. Because as things get more, if a little supply of things, if something gets very scarce, the price goes up, okay? So that's essentially what we wanted to say about supply. Let's see how supply and demand interacts. And the benefits of interacting, okay? So we have a demand curve. Let's say our demand curve for something is down sloping like that, okay? And we have a supply curve of things. And it goes up something like that, okay? The red thing is supply, even though you can't see it. Maybe you get down here on your knees, you can see it, but anyway. So notice the demand curve. We will buy certain quantities of things. As the price gets lower, the quantities will increase. We know the price. But in the case of the supplier, they're guessing the price. So if they guess correctly and put in this price, charge that much price, and put that much in the market where the supply curve intersects the demand curve, that point is called equilibrium. And that is good. Everybody loves equilibrium, pretty much. Equilibrium means, then, it's an efficient allocation of resources, because with equilibrium, everybody that wants to buy this item at this price buys as much as they want. And the suppliers that supply this market, that are willing to supply at that amount and supply this much on the market, they sell the whole supply, or they sell the whole inventory. There's nothing hanging on the shelves or rotting out, or it's just very beneficial. And when you think of it, this is the goal, this is the aim of free markets, is to reach an effective equilibrium. And what free market adherents say is that they can do this if the government keeps its mitts out of the market and allows the market to correct itself. What do I mean by that? Well, let us say, well, I'll keep this equilibrium point here, okay? Let us say that the suppliers guess wrong on the price that will sell out. So they put this higher price here, okay? And being a higher price, they put this much on the market. Well, at that higher price, people don't want to buy as much that they put on the market. They'll buy less. So the people will only buy this much. Okay? So this much to here is a surplus, unsold surplus. Okay? So what do? You know, they won't make any money by not selling this inventory that's hanging on the shelf. So what they will do is what you see at Safeway, looking at the day-old bakery stuff. They will lower the price for a sale to get rid of it. More people buy it until they sell out the entire inventory at the equilibrium price. And so what's really the benefit of that? Well, notice, there would be some consumers that would be willing to buy a little of this stuff at a high price, okay? But because of the equilibrium that was reached, they can buy a lot more of it at a lower price. So this area under the demand curve is really a benefit to them. That is what we call consumer surplus. That is a good thing. It's like money in their hands, because they would be willing to buy a lot less of the stuff at a higher price, but now they can buy a lot more of it at a lower price. Now, it's same for producers. Some producers would be willing to put a little bit on the market at a low price, but they don't have to, because they can put a lot more on the market at a high price, or a higher price. So this is kind of unexpected earnings for the producers. So this part is called under the price, but over the supply curve is called producer surplus. It is a benefit, a net benefit, along with the consumer surplus. So this is the corrective mechanism of the free market, that if there's stuff left unsold, the price will drop so they can get rid of it. And if there's more that's on it, the price will raise. Anyway, this is